Muv-Luv is a Japanese visual novel developed by Ascent-G and originally released as an adult game for the PC on February 28, 2003. Subsequent versions with the adult content removed were sold for the PC, Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. Consisting of two parts, Muv-Luv Extra and Muv-Luv Unlimited, the gameplay in Muv-Luv follows a linear plotline, which offers predetermined scenarios and courses of interaction, and focuses on the differing scenarios of the female main characters. Muv-Luv was followed by a sequel, Muv-Luv Alternative, which was released for the PC on April 24, 2006 and follows the storyline of Muv-Luv Unlimited. Two fandiscs were also released, Muv-Luv Supplement and Muv-Luv Altered Fable, containing alternate scenarios, short stories, computer wallpapers, and audio dramas. Muv-Luv has also made the transition to other media. 3 manga series based on the games were published by MediaWorks and later ASCII MediaWorks and serialized in the manga magazine Denjikidero. Shueisha published a 7-volume novel series based on Muv-Luv and Muv-Luv Alternative, while Enterbrain published a side story novel series, Muv-Luv Alternative, Total Eclipse, in its Tech Geo magazine and follows a new cast of characters. A modified version, Total Eclipse, has also been adapted into the manga format by ASCII MediaWorks, as well as an anime series which began airing on July 2, 2012, and licensed by Crunchyroll. Gameplay. The gameplay in Muv-Luv requires little player interaction, as most time is spent reading the text that appears on the lower portion of the screen, representing either dialogue between characters, or the inner thoughts of the protagonist. Every so often, the player will arrive at a decision point, and be required to choose between multiple options. Gameplay pauses, and depending upon the player's choice, the plot will develop in a specific direction. There are multiple plot lines that the player can follow, one for each heroine in the story, and there are 19 possible endings. To view all plot lines, the player must replay the game multiple times. The game can end in failure if the player makes the wrong decisions. When this occurs, the player can return to a previously saved spot to try again. Muv-Luv is divided into 2 segments, or story ARCS Euro Extra and Unlimited Euro, which serve as different phases in the overall story. Initially, only the extra arc is available to play, but once the player has completed the extra scenarios for the 2 main heroines, Sumika Kagami and Maria Mitsurugi, the Unlimited arc becomes accessible. Plot and characters. The plot of Muv-Luv is divided into 2 parts. The first part is called Muv-Luv Extra, while the second part is called Muv-Luv Unlimited. In Extra, Takeharu Shirogane wakes up one morning to find a beautiful young woman sleeping in his bed and an infuriated Sumika Kagami, Takeharu's neighbor and childhood friend. The young woman, Maria Mitsurugi, is the heiress to a financially powerful family and is determined to be Takeharu's bride. As the game progresses, both girls compete for Takeharu's affections, while Takeharu has reoccurring dreams about a marriage promise he made to a girl long ago. At first, he believes the girl was Sumika, but eventually realizes that it was actually Maria. At the conclusion, Takeharu must choose between which of the girls he truly loves. Muv-Luv Unlimited takes place in an alternate world to Extra, where aliens called BETA have invaded and mankind fights back against the alien aggressors with giant robots called tactical surface fighters, usually referred to as simply Sanjuzuki. The BETA first arrived on Earth in 1973 after arriving on the Moon in 1967 and being spotted on Mars in 1958. By 2001, the world population has been reduced to 2.4 billion people, and most of Europe and Asia have been wiped out. The Soviet Union and USA have a joint base, operating out of Alaska. When the BETA first arrived in Japan in 1998, 6 million people were dead within a week. Most of the major characters from the Extra timeline are present in Unlimited, except for the Unlimited world's Takeharu, who is said to be dead, and Sumika, who does not seem to exist in the Unlimited timeline. The characters are, for the most part, identical to their Extra counterparts. In the sequel Muv-Luv Alternative, a part of Takeharu wakes up 3 years after the beginning of Unlimited to find himself back in his room. Although he first thinks that everything that had happened to him was a dream, He soon feels that something is wrong, and leaves the house to find that he has been sent back in time to the beginning of the events in Unlimited. Unwilling to accept the events at the end of Unlimited, he decides to help Professor Kozuki save the Earth and mankind. Development and release: Muv-Luv was released on February 28, 2003 on Windows CD-ROM, and re-released on DVD-ROM on April 30, 2004. A fandisc, called Muv-Luv Supplement, containing a number of short stories, computer wallpapers, audio clips, and a trailer for the upcoming Muv-Luv Alternative. The limited edition DVD was released on December 17, 2004, and the regular edition was released on December 24. Muv-Luv Alternative is a sequel to Muv-Luv and taking place after the events of the Unlimited arc in the original game. The DVD version of the game was released on February 24, 2006, and the CD version was released on March 3, 2006. A Muv-Luv Alternative fandisc, Muv-Luv Altered Fable, was released on August 31, 2007, containing an alternate version of the Extra arc from Muv-Luv along with a radio drama, a Senjoki vs. Beta strategy RPG, computer wallpapers, and a Muv-Luv Alternative, Total Eclipse short story. All age versions of Muv-Luv and Muv-Luv Alternative with the adult content removed were released simultaneously on September 22, 2006. In 2011, both games were ported to the Xbox 360 by 5PB and simultaneously released on October 27, 2011. Related media: manga. 3 manga adaptations based on Muv-Luv and its sequel Muv-Luv Alternative have been serialized in MediaWorks' and later ASCII MediaWorks' Denjiki Dero manga magazine. The first adaptation, called Muv-Luv, is written and illustrated by Kaya Takao and covers the extra part of the first game. It was collected and republished in 3 volumes by MediaWorks. The second series is Muv-Luv Unlimited and covers the Unlimited portion of the first game. It ran for 4 volumes and was written and illustrated by Tomohiro Okawa. The third series, Muv-Luv Alternative, is written and illustrated by Azusa Maxima and based on the second game of the same name. It began its serial run in the February 2007 issue of Denjiki Dero. As of February 27, 2014, 11 compilation volumes have been published by ASCII MediaWorks. The novel series Muv-Luv Alternative, Total Eclipse has also been adapted into a manga by Takashi Ishigaki and 3 compilation volumes have been published as of February 12, 2012. Another novel series, Schwarzes Märchen, detailing the events in East Germany during the Beta invasion in 1983, serialized in the magazine Tech Gien and replacing Total Eclipse. 5 volumes of Schwarzes Märchen have been released, in addition to the light novel series Schwarzes Märchen Requiem, of which 2 volumes have been released so far, and both series feature art by Carnelian. Novels, anime. On July 24, 2011, a teaser website announced that an anime television adaptation of the Muv-Luv Alternative, Total Eclipse novels which aired between July 2 and December 23, 2012. Sentai Filmworks has licensed the anime for digital and home video release. The first 13 episodes are scheduled to be released on January 20, 2015, on Blu-ray and DVD. Music. The opening theme of Muv-Luv is Muv-Luv by Minami Kurabayashi. The closing theme for the extra segment of Muv-Luv is I Will, and the Unlimited segment's ending theme is Haruka no Furizato no Yuta, both by Minami Kurabayashi. For the all-ages version, the opening theme the extra segment is Divergence by Minami Kurabayashi. For the Unlimited segment, the opening theme is Sin by Masami Wakui. The all-ages version featured several ending themes depending on the ending, including I Will by Minami Kurabayashi, Kaizu Wakeisuki ni Narinai Karedo by Akai Masato, Astia by Miyuki Hashimoto, and Little More by Kuarai. The opening themes for the sequel Muv-Luv Alternative are Asui no Haka by Jam Project for the original release and Name Kumi no Na wa by Jam Project for the all-age release. The ending theme for both releases is Muv-Luv by Minami Kurabayashi. References. External links, official Muv-Luv website, Muv-Luv at the Visual Novel Database, Muv-Luv Alternative, Total Eclipse at the Visual Novel Database, Muv-Luv Alternative, Total Eclipse at Anime News Network's Encyclopedia,